Hi, it's close to 5 in the morning, and it's time for a fun talk on the secular masses. So, what do I think of the secular masses? Well, one question is, where have all these deteriorations in our culture come from? Have they come from on high, or have they come from a sort of mass movement from below? And really it's been a combination of both. There's been high intellectuals deteriorating the culture through their writings, but it's really caught on with the secular masses, and this is what I want to talk about today. So yeah, the secular masses, it's like there's a few tenets that belong to them, like pornography is the art of the secular masses, for example. And this is because it's been totally degraded from the high ideals of visual culture to things like Game of Thrones now. Now, Game of Thrones is a mixture of pornography, extreme violence, shallow storytelling, amoral characters. Something like Game of Thrones is just absolutely typical of the secular masses, and it's enjoyed and consumed by them, and it's really the worst of TV. But I mean, TV is only going to get worse, isn't it? I can't see much of an improvement happening, personally. Now, I've got Game of Thrones is a special pet hate of mine because I watched the first 4 seasons, and at first I really liked it, but as my thinking has developed, I began to really hate it. And now I utterly despise it. And although I don't despise the secular masses, you see, you've got to have love for every human being. But as a group, even as an abstract concept, the secular masses is appalling. I mean, they just don't have a grasp on reality, you know. And the sexualization of the culture, total sexualization of the culture, and leading to things like non-binary gender theory and stuff like that, which is just an extension of the deformed focus on sexuality. But it's not just that, it's obviously gratuitous violence as well. And in culture, in mainstream culture, you're better off just reading books, really, but even then you can go wrong in quite a fundamental way, because a lot of the modern pot boilers and crime thrillers and all of this sort of thing, probably not that healthy a read, actually. Yeah, you're better off reading the classics. Even something like a Victorian novel, which I find very boring. You know, Bleak House by Charles Dickens, or George Eliot. What's that really boring book? Probably most of her oeuvre, actually. But can't think of the name of it now. But yeah, just read poetry. That's good for the soul. and visual art. Visual art's gone really downhill now. What do the secular masses like in visual art? Well, Banksy. I don't mind Banksy. I mean, Banksy has some merit, but the abstract expressionism is absolutely awful. And then there's the really immoral art, like I'm not even going to mention the names, but art that seeks to pull down traditional values and religion and stuff like that and make a mockery of it, and that's really awful, but it sort of titillates the secular masses, so I guess they think it's quite out there and cool and at the edge of culture and stuff like that. But you can see it's the thing with the secular masses is they just follow all the trends, all the current trends and all the fashions of the times, and that's not a good way to live your life, by the way, to follow the trends and the fashions, because there's nothing more ephemeral, and also you want to be rooted in tradition, because tradition is the only value, really. It's the only value system, and the traditions of our forefathers and the elders in our society, or even then a lot of our elders have gone astray, but it's just an idea that you should think, like, what do the secular masses stand for, and do I really agree with that mentality? Because I suppose most people do, but you've got to rebel against it, really. That's part of the counterculture. Catholicism is counterculture now, You've got to rebel against the immoral status quo of things, and fight the good fight. And I think a gentle mockery of the secular masses is definitely in order. So that's my thoughts on that topic, and thank you for listening.